Spoiler warning. The following discussion will contain spoilers. We recommend checking out the movie first, then coming back to hang with us. But if you don't care about that, glad to have you here.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal.
All right, everybody, welcome to the 25 Days of Real Christmas, a series where we review old and new holiday favorites. My name's Kevin.
And I'm John.
And we are the Real Movie Guys. On today's episode, we're going to be taking a look at Home Alone. An 8-year-old troublemaker must protect his house from a pair of burglars when he is accidentally left home alone by his family during a Christmas vacation. Now, John, this was a classic in our youth, I would say.
Oh, of course. One of those definitely pretty much everybody that's around our age has seen at least once.
Yeah, I mean, this was like this was Die Hard for kids, right? I mean, that's really the best way to put it. If you've seen Die Hard, which I'm assuming most viewers have, and most of you viewers probably have seen this too, that's really what the inspiration of this movie is. The kid's left home alone, he has to protect his house, and yeah, shenanigans ensue.
Heads up! Don't worry, Marv, I'll get him for you. Yes.
I can't think of a time when I didn't watch this movie. I've always watched this every Christmas, 100%.
I think I've either watched this one or Home Alone 2.
Well, Home Alone 2, definitely,
every Christmas, or at least around this time. It always either is on TV or, like, I just want to watch it.
Right. In my opinion, this is probably one of the best Christmas films ever made. It's not the quintessential Santa Claus, movie fantasy telling.
Okay, I know you're not the real Santa Claus.
What makes you say that? Just out of curiosity.
But this movie just reeks of Christmas, and it's like it's a child's fantasy, all through and through.
Guys, I'm eating junk and watching rubbish. You better come out and stop me.
He'll call you when he gets out.
Well, yeah, even with this one, this was like the first movie that I sat down with my son and he watched part of the movie, but he watched when the bad guys were kind of going into the house.
Mm-hmm.
Be a good little fella now and open the door. Shoot! What? 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 What happened?
And the fact that he couldn't stop laughing at like them getting hurt, it just reminded me of how good this movie really is for like children and people of all ages. Like, it really connects to you.
No, it does, without a doubt. And a lot of that, I think, has to do with the acting. We get some superb performances. I mean, you can argue Macaulay Culkin's not at his best. At the same time, I think he did a really good job, given how young he was.
Are you here all by yourself? Ma'am, I'm 8 years old. You think I'd be here alone? I don't think so.
Where's your mom?
My mom's in the car.
Where's your father?
He's at work.
What about your brothers and your sisters?
I'm an only child.
Where do you live?
I can't tell you that.
Why not?
Because you're a stranger.
He has just the amount of like charisma and cuteness that you like root for him throughout the whole entire movie.
Well, yeah, Macaulay Culkin's definitely the best Kevin, I would say.
Best Kevin
in these movies. Because I feel like he plays the part so well, it's almost like believable in a way.
No, it is. He's very believable. And that was the one thing I noticed, like rewatching this movie for this review. The performances all feel natural, right? Like, it's hard to explain, but I felt like they were all natural conversations. There's a scene, especially when Kevin's talking to his mother, Kate, played by the fantastic Catherine O'Hara, where, he's wishing that, he wished he didn't have a family, and he wishes everyone was gone.
Everyone in this family hates me.
Then maybe you should ask Santa for a new family.
I don't want a new family. I don't want any family. Families suck.
Just stay up there. I don't want to see you again for the rest of the night.
I don't want to see you again for the rest of my whole life. And I don't want to see anybody else either.
I hope you don't mean that. You'd feel pretty sad if you woke up tomorrow morning and you didn't have a family.
No, I wouldn't.
Then say it again. Maybe it'll happen.
I hope I never see any of you jerks again.
that felt very organic. Like I could see a kid just freaking out like that, just like, I've had enough with this family. I'm done. Like you can totally understand like that whole emotion and spectrum behind that.
Oh yeah, definitely. And also I think it's a very interesting way to show you like how sometimes one person in a huge family like that could feel like the outcast or like the left out one.
I don't know how to pack a suitcase. I've never done this once in my whole life.
Tough.
That's what Megan said.
What did I say?
You told Kevin tough.
The dope was whining about a suitcase. What am I supposed to do? Shake his hand and say, congratulations, you're an idiot?
I'm not an idiot.
Oh, really? You're completely helpless. Everyone has to do everything for you.
She's right, Kev.
Excuse me, pupils. I'm a lot smaller than you. I don't know how to pack a suitcase.
And like you could see that for Kevin. But he's got his like little smart remarks that he says too.
He was in the garage again playing with the glue gun.
Didn't we talk about that?
Did I burn down the joint? I don't think so. I was making ornaments out of fish hooks.
My new fish hooks?
I can make ornaments out of the old ones with dry worm guts stuck on them.
Oh yeah, I
Which
mean
I
he's got
think
a
is
wit
funny.
and charm for sure. He's a more, you know, advanced his age. Which after this movie, I feel like we do see a lot more in film. We start to see like that smart kid that's in every
Yeah.
movie. You know, every kid that's way beyond their years. This whole like concept of Home Alone, I think, gets carried like in a million movies after this. It's a laundry list of just mostly terrible, to be honest with you, terrible movies to follow after this movie. I want to go into a couple things. Some of the reasons why this movie works is the plot is so simple, right? They just leave they leave their son home alone. You know, the family's going on a vacation. They're going to Paris because they're filthy rich for whatever reason.
Having a reunion or something?
Oh, no, my husband's brother transferred to Paris last summer, and both of his kids are still going to school here, and I guess he missed the whole family. He's giving us all this trip to Paris for the holidays so we can be together.
You're taking a trip to Paris.
Which is probably my biggest question in this movie is, what does the dad do?
Am I under arrest or something?
Right?
Yeah,
Like, what
really.
is his job? Because he must be ridiculously rich. I can't even imagine to fly the whole family out there and to not bat an eyelash when, like, huge amounts of money are being dropped out of nowhere.
Come on, Irene, they're boarding.
Oh, this gal has offered us 2 first-class tickets if we go Friday, plus a ring, a watch, a pocket translator, $500, and
The earrings, you love the earrings.
She's got her own earrings, a whole shoebox full of them, dangly ones. Come on.
no, but
I need to know what his job is. I need his job. Okay, whatever that is. That's what I'm looking for.
Well, the
Out of
other
life.
great part is like the freeloading uncle too.
Oh, yeah.
Uncle Frank, who he just keeps talking about like, oh, this is gonna be a great vacation, and you're just like, what is up with this guy, and what goes through his mind?
Frank, you got the money, don't you? Come on.
Traveler's checks.
Forget it, Frank. We have cash.
Because he's just like a freeloading
No, it
old
is.
kind of guy.
It
like,
is. No, he's the freeloading uncle. We all have one of those, I feel like.
What kind of mother am I?
If it makes you feel any better, I forgot my reading classes.
A freeloading family member of some kind, you know, the gator arms kind of guy, like, oh, I'll pay the check, you know, stretching out the arm with the card when it's like still in their wallet. You know, it's that kind of thing. But like I said, the plot is just so simple. And I feel like sometimes in a lot of movies, we tend to overcomplicate things where the plot's so contrived and so complicated. And this movie, for being so simple, it does try to cover its bases pretty well with this plot. Because I do raise the question, would this plot work today? Would the whole plot of Home Alone work today? That was my main thing going into this movie, you know, reviewing it again after, you know, so many years of watching it. And you know what? I think they can almost get away with it now. Just about. Because they cover their bases with the telephone lines, right? They can't call Kevin at home because the telephone lines aren't working.
Ma'am, excuse me, I just wanted to let you know that your power is fixed, but the phone lines are a mess. It's gonna take Ma Bell a couple of days to patch them up, especially around the holidays.
hey, thanks.
Yet, I do question, there is a logic issue here. How is he able to call out for pizza?
A lovely cheese pizza just for me.
And how is he able to call the police?
Oh, my house is being robbed. My address is 656 Lincoln Boulevard. My name's Murphy.
I don't know. That's a little sketchy, but movie magic, we'll let that go. They're all the way in another country, so they can't fly all the way back right away. None of the neighbors are home. Everyone just so happens to be home, you know, away for Christmas.
Any luck?
No, I couldn't get anybody.
Leslie?
I'm sorry, Kate. Nothing but a bunch of answering machines.
Somebody pick up.
Yeah, like the whole block is out for Christmas. I guess they all
Yeah,
got
just-
that wealthy money. They're going
Yeah,
to other places.
Yeah, just a coincidence. Everyone happens to be gone.
5 families gone on one block alone. They all told me from their own mouths.
It's almost too easy.
I mean, the only other one maybe you could question is the police probably should have did a little better of a job. You know, they just knocked on the door and said, forget it, he's not home.
There's no one home. The house looks secure. I'm the counter kids again.
I also think though that they were doing it because they didn't like believe her.
Yeah, they thought she was crazy. And it's
you
the
left
holidays,
your kid at home.
you know.
Yeah, hi, look, I'm calling from Paris. I have a son who's home alone. Our phones there are out of order, so I'd like somebody to go over to our house, tell him that we're coming home to get him.
Okay, let me connect you with Family Crisis Intervention.
No, it's not a family crisis.
Hold on. Larry, can you pick up? There's some lady on hold, sounds kind of hyper.
You know, they're workers, they have families too, they don't care. Is that the right thing? Absolutely not. They probably should have done a little more. But again, at the same time, you know, the movie tries to answer those questions and tries to make at least a little bit logical to an extent. So I gotta give him more preps for that. When I was younger, I don't think I looked into it as much. But being older now, you know, that's definitely something I tried to look at a little closer, was just the logic behind this movie. And for what it is, it holds up. You know, I mean, it didn't age terribly.
I still laugh after watching it.
Yeah, and a lot of that has to do with the humor in this movie. Some of it's outright. I mean, like we said, Macaulay Culkin has some of the best lines.
Buzz, I'm going through all your private stuff. You better come out and pound me. Buzz, your girlfriend. Woof.
Catherine O'Hara is just amazing as the mom, Kate.
What am I doing? Hello? I'll have to call you back.
We know we've talked about her. She's Tim Burton's go-to girl, you know, and Schitt's Creek star. I absolutely love her. John Hurd as Peter is fantastic.
Don't you feel like a heel flying first class with all the kids back in coach?
No, the kids are fine. The only flying I ever did as a kid was in the family station wagon. It wasn't to France. We used to have to go over to Aunt Laura and Uncle Arthur's house.
And let's get into the main comedy cast, right? The main people we're here to talk about.
Harry.
Joe Pesci, right? And Daniel Stern.
Crowbar's up.
Now, Joe Pesci in this movie, there's an excellent documentary I do recommend everyone check out. The Movies That Made Us. It's on Netflix. You should check it out. They have a whole episode dedicated to Home Alone. And Joe Pesci was just apparently a terrible person to work with on this movie because he wanted to curse every 2 seconds. Even when he was reading the script, he was like, F this, F that, S this, S that, like just dropping bombs everywhere. So to get around it, he actually has to create his own language when he gets hurt. That's why he goes fricker, 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 because he actually wants to curse the whole time while he's saying his dialogue, because he's just so used to that. All the movies he's been in, he's been this, no nonsense mobster, piece of crap, and now he's he's a piece of crap still.
It's very G.
Very G, huh? It's loaded. It's got lots of top flight goods. Stereos, VCRs.
Toys?
Probably looking at some very fine jewelry. Possible cash hoard. Odd marketable securities. Who knows? It's a gem.
But at the same time, this is a kid's movie, so you can't be dropping those lines. And Joe Pesci just delivers on every level.
That's my go-to. My go-to. I'll kill him. I'll kill him! You bomb me with one more can, kid, and I'll snap up your cojones and boil them in motor oil!
I think being younger, when I was a kid, I related Joe Pesci more to this than I would to, any of the other, Scorsese films or anything like that. Whenever I think of Joe Pesci, I actually do think of Home Alone first before everything else.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And I don't know if that's a good thing necessarily. I don't know if you'd appreciate that, Mr. Pesci, but that is what I think.
Well, it's one of his iconic roles, though, too. So,
Oh, for sure, for sure. And then we have the amazing chemistry with Daniel Stern as Marv.
You did it again, didn't you? You left the water running, didn't you? What's wrong with you? Why do you do that? I told you not to do it.
Harry, it's our calling card.
Calling card.
All the great ones leave their mark. We're the wet bandits.
You're sick. You know that? You're really sick.
The chemistry those two have is just phenomenal between the gags And
the wet bandits.
Yeah, the wet band, just the dialogue between them. I mean, they make the movie for me, if anything. They're the perfect stupid villains that maybe a little menacing to some extent.
I don't get it. I mean, right now it looks like there's nobody home. Last night the place is jumping. Something ain't right. Go check it out.
Now?
No, tomorrow, egghead. Now! Go ahead!
But you can't help but laugh at all their interactions. It's great. I love it.
Hey guys, check this out.
Oh, go back! Oh, good! Good! Go back! Okay.
No matter how old I feel like you get, this movie doesn't get old.
And a lot of that has to do, like I said, we were talking about the humor. A lot of the physicality in this movie is very impressive. Now, when I was watching that documentary, they did talk about, they actually had stuntmen do those stunts where they would fall down or get hit with objects. Like, they were actually getting beat up. In this movie, like those stuntmen, now it wasn't the real actors, but at the same time, people were getting hurt. And one of the greatest things to notice in comedy is we laugh at other people's misery. That's something that's always funny. It's just human nature. If someone gets hurt, you're gonna laugh. And this movie like pulls that off to such a ridiculous extent to where people are just being dramatically, they should be dead on all accounts. Like they really should be, but we're just laughing because it's so hilarious.
Ow!
My two favorite scenes really is when they fall on the ice, when Joe Pesci just falls flat back on his ice, like. You feel that pain, right? Like you feel that. The other scene for me, especially, is the spider scene.
I got him!
When there's the spiders crawling on Joe Pesci, and then Daniel Stern's got the crowbar, and he just smacks him with the crowbar.
Harry, don't move.
Marv?
Don't.
Marv, what are you doing? Marv.
Did I get him? Did I get him?
Like, oh my god, like that you just feel that riveting pain.
Well, I love when his head catches on fire too. Joe Pesci's head catches on fire.
Right, yeah.
I thought that was funny too.
Dead kid.
Another scene, even like I said, we just be naming scenes all day in this movie. When Marv, Daniel Stern, steps on the nail. That just gets me every time. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. It just the fact that nail juddering through his foot just turns my stomach. But I'm cracking up, right? I'm cracking up at the same time.
Well, one of my favorite parts too is like Marv and Harry finally see each other again in the house.
Right.
Marv looks at Harry, I think, and he goes, "Why are you not wearing any shoes?" And he goes, "Why are you dressed like a chicken?"
Marv!
Harry?
Why the hell did you take your shoes off?
Why the hell you dressed like a chicken?
Yeah,
and I thought that part was hilarious. I was like, "Wait, that is awesome!" Like they're trying to take it seriously, but then they can't at the same time.
Right, and just how memorable really is this movie? Like the quotes it gave us, it's just it's phenomenal. I mean, especially it affects me personally. I wonder why it could affect me personally. My name does happen to be Kevin, so you can pretty much guarantee, you know, all those years going forward, that it always haunts me.
Kevin!
Right? I mean, that was always a joke. Kevin, oh, you're so clever, so funny, ha ha ha. You know, I probably should have some resentment towards this movie, but I can't. I do love it too much. And there's so many scenes, you know, like I said, him doing the famous scream in the mirror.
I can't seem to find my toothbrush, so I'll pick one up when I go out today. Other than that, I'm in good shape.
Which was totally improvised. He held it. He was only supposed to do like a quick and then he just holds it and he just screams the with his hands on his face. The iconic scene. And that's so stupid how that's iconic, right? In like the grand scheme of things, like why is that such an iconic scene? But it is. The mobster scene, the famous videotape that everyone thinks is a movie. Is it Darkest Angels? Something along those lines. I can't remember. It's called the movie. It's not a real movie, which everyone thinks it is.
How much do I owe you?
AC said 10%.
Too bad AC ain't in charge no more.
It's actually a movie that was made for this movie. That they actually use so they can use the famous, you know.
Keep the change, you filthy animal.
Merry Christmas, you filthy animal, you know. Or no, it's not Merry Christmas, you filthy animal. See, that's one of the famous misconceptions I always have too. I always say that. It's actually, no, that's in the second movie.
That's the one thing too that's hard too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even after watching this one again,
yeah,
I always get this one and the second one
there
mixed
are
up.
scenes, and there's good reason for that, but we'll talk about that more, I think, when we get into Home Alone 2. There's a lot of good reasons why we would confuse the two. I really want to also talk about, it's an amazing Christmas movie. Overall, just the message in general. I think it captures family, right? Like you were saying earlier, how you can feel with so much going on, how you can just feel left out to an extent, especially when you're the youngest. I think I could see that definitely being a thing where everything's buzzing around you and you're just kind of like left to, you know, fend for yourself. You know, you wish your family wasn't there, but it really like touches on that. I feel like that timeless meaning of, you know, just wanting your family and wanting your family for Christmas and what the holidays really mean. I think it really touches on that extremely well. I do like how they do have the scary neighbor.
You hear me? I'm not afraid anymore.
Which kind of capitalize. This movie plays a lot with just being a kid, right? Like the things we take for granted as an adult, where like going into the basement is like a big deal with the boiler, with the furnace burning and roaring.
It's only my imagination. Only my imagination.
Like, it's kind of scary, right?
Yep,
Or a knock at the door, you don't know who it is, and you're afraid to answer. Or that one creepy neighbor.
See the garbage can full of salt? That's where he keeps his victims. The salt turns the bodies into mummies.
Wow.
Yeah!
Look out!
I love that concept a lot. I really do, how like they play that up. And it's great to see how they have that really powerful scene in the church. That's actually one of my favorite non-comical scenes in the movie, is the church scene where he sits down and, you know, they're talking about family and he's like, oh, I don't talk to my son anymore.
Point is, you should call your son.
What if he won't talk to me?
At least you'll know. Then you could stop worrying about it. And you won't have to be afraid anymore. I don't care how mad I was, I'd talk to my dad, especially around the holidays.
And he's like, well, why not? You know, you should. Just, well, why wait? You know, it's Christmas time. There's got to be a reason so you can see your granddaughter and everything. They have such a bonding, powerful moment. And like I said, that really exemplifies like the powerful message in this movie about Christmas.
Like, he also tells him, like, what do you have to lose?
I don't know.
Just give it a shot. For your granddaughter, anyway. I'm sure she misses you. And the presents.
Right.
Like right now, you're
Mm-hmm.
losing everything. What
Yeah.
more could you have to lose by just trying to call him or reach out to him?
Right.
There's nothing more that could happen worse than what's happening now.
No.
So I feel like that sends a good message too. Like,
right. And the big thing too with this movie, and the reasons why a lot of these scenes work as well as they do, is you have to give credit to John Williams and his score for this movie. From the minute this movie opens, right, from the title crawl in the beginning, right up to like that beautiful church scene with the church choir in the end, that music just like is that's a magical score. I mean, John Williams, man, he really just blows me away every time I hear that score. Like, I could just put that on in the background and just chill to it, honestly, and that gets me in the mood for Christmas. As soon as I hear that, like as soon as that starts piping up, I get right in the mood for Christmas. Not to be a Grinch, but I really did try to like comb through it and find out what I didn't like. I mean, the only thing you could argue potentially is some of the logic issues.
Look what you did, you little jerk.
But I can't fault it too much for that. I really can't. This movie is really, really good. It's a Christmas classic instantly. And not even a Christmas classic. It's just a classic in general. This is a great movie just from beginning to end. With that being said, I think we're ready for our final scores. I'm going to give Home Alone an A+. If I didn't spoil it before, you know, I do. I think this movie's a classic. It's a Christmas classic. It's not Christmas unless I watch this movie. This whole month really is dedicated to Home Alone, for better and for much worse, which you'll see as this time goes on. But if we're just talking about this movie could have been a one-shot, and that would have been great. I would have been happy. It captures everything I want. The future, something else to talk about. But again, we're just talking about this movie right now. John, where do you stand with this film?
This one easily A+ for me too.
Fuller, go easy on the Pepsi.
One of those classic movies. A movie that every time I sit down and watch it, it's just one of those classic all-time greats movies that I love.
It is. It encapsulates everything that we want in Christmas. The good, the bad of family, just, you know, wanting to just be with somebody on Christmas and capture that magic.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
John, where can the people find us at home?
You can find us on YouTube, The Real Movie Guys on YouTube. Like our channel, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can know when we put out new content and such. You can also comment down there, like it if you like this movie or other movies that we're going to do throughout this whole Christmas month.
Oh, yeah.
You can also find us on Twitter at The Real Movie Guy on Twitter. You can ask us questions over there. You can tell us, maybe give us a list of what's your favorite movies.
Or what's your favorite
during
scene from this movie? What's your favorite big injury in this movie? Because there's a lot.
Yeah, which scene do you like the best?
Oh, yeah.
Also, you can find us on many podcasting platforms such as...
Yes, for your listening pleasure. We are also available in podcast form at iTunes, Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcast, Overcast, Breaker, Radio Public, and Pocket Casts. Be sure to give us a listen at any of those fine places if you already are right now. Hey, we greatly appreciate it. Just search out The Real Movie Guys. We should pop right up. Thank you all so much for joining us for this episode of The Real Review. My name's Kevin. That guy over there, he's John. We are your Real Movie Guys. Real guys, real movies, real thoughts. And do not forget to tune in all this month as the holiday festivities continue during the 25 days of Real Christmas. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Until next time.
Kevin!